السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الكلام كتاب الله، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. ثم أما بعد. So after praising Allah and sending salutations upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and seeking the help of Allah and His forgiveness and all the other aspects that this Khutbat al-Hajjah contain, we want to welcome you, brothers and sisters, to Ramadan Reminder number 4. And we want to also remind you that our aim in this series is to really help ourselves and to help you get an exceptional Ramadan. To get a Ramadan with a difference, to get a Ramadan that is different from any other Ramadan that we ever went through before. To get a Ramadan that is the best Ramadan, to get the best of Ramadan, inshallah, to get the most really complete Ramadan, to benefit from all the aspects of Ramadan, inshallah, that is there, or to benefit from most of it. But in order to do this, we have to have knowledge, inshallah. So we recognize, we understand, we know that Ramadan is barakah. Barakah and barakah and more barakah. This is what Ramadan is all about. Full of barakah. This is the month of barakah. Right? Did you ever know that Ramadan is called a month of barakah? A blessed month? Did you ever hear this? Well, brothers and sisters, if you never heard it, Ramadan is the month of barakah because our Prophet ﷺ says so. Messenger of Allah says in a hadith that is reported by Tabarani, he says, Ramadanu shahrun mubarakun. Ramadan is a blessed month. Ramadan is a blessed month. It means that the whole month is full of barakah. The Prophet ﷺ did not say a moment in Ramadan or the 27th night, or, because some people believe that the 27th night is Laylatul Qadr, right? Or Laylatul Qadr is if you get Laylatul Qadr, then that is the barakah of Ramadan. The Prophet ﷺ says Ramadan shahrun mubarakun. He did not say a week in it is barakah, or a day in it is barakah, or an hour in it is barakah. He says the entire month is mubarak. And brothers and sisters, this is the reality. Ramadan is truly this. Ramadan is not only a blessed month, brothers and sisters. Ramadan is the most blessed and the most honorable month of the year for Muslims. So there is no doubt about this. I mean, regardless what other month there is, it is not overflowing with barakat as much as Ramadan is. It's not overflowing with it like this, inshallah. So, alhamdulillah, we were talking about preparing for this special event in your life, and this is what we are about, and this is what we want to make endearing to you. We want you to really want to seek after it. So, first thing we're going to talk about, since this is the month of barakah, what is barakah? According to the scholars of Islam, barakah means ziyaratun fil khayr, increase in good, more and more good. So, more good is it, more barakat. You understand? So, inshallah, this is really what it is. And alhamdulillah, in our religion, I want you to understand why we are dealing with the subject of barakah. Why we are dealing with Ramadan from this angle? Because we want to deal with 3 concepts that are important, that are not normally dealt with, that is hardly heard of. And if they are mentioned, they are mentioned very slightly. We might only deal with them in a slide or 2 also. But inshallah, at least we hope the importance of these subjects are going to reach to your heart, and you're going to really pay attention to it. The first is in relation to the aspect of ourselves. Who are we? What are we? Are we just body alone? Because generally, if you look at our lives, and you look at the lives around the people around you, right? Everything that they strive after, all the time that they spend their time in, is basically to enhance the needs of the body and to make sure that the bodily needs are fulfilled. You check it out. From the time they get up in the morning, all they're thinking about is work and work and work and work. and other than that, they go to the doctor for health, and they, and it's all about keeping the body whole. They have to buy that big house, and and this is all everything is about. And they don't operate as if they have a soul, the majority of people. And this is reality. They only operate as if they have a body and they're going to take care of it. And actually, some people believe this. In Islam, however, we know that we have a body and a soul. We are two parts. I mean, we don't really want to get into the nafs and all these other things. These things are incidental. What is important is that this body is for this world, and it's going to live and it's going to exist until the soul is taken away from it, which is called death. And then that part of us goes into another existence. But it is still living. Okay? I mean, the issue is that there are two distinct existences that we are going to have. One here in this world, which the soul is in the body. And there, on the next life, the soul is going to be away from the body for a time. And then afterwards, for the day of judgment, when the resurrection comes, the soul again is going to be united with a body. Okay? So the issue is that, inshallah, these aspects are important for us to pay attention to. And the reason for this is that because the soul is the most important aspect, the most important of the two, which we are going to show inshallah, right? But what we have to know is that both of these aspects, the body as well as the soul, needs care. It needs nurturing. It needs our attention. It needs that we make sure that we are taking care of it in a proper way. Now, for each one of these, we need knowledge. For example, if we get sick, we don't just relax and stay home. I mean, and we go to the doctor to make sure that the doctor tells us what to do so that we can feel better. Now, if our soul gets sick, what do? We don't do anything. And then that is the dilemma, because we don't even know that our soul is sick, most of us. We don't know how to diagnose it. So the whole aspect is that, I mean, this is why we need to really talk about this subject. And this is why barakah is important. And increase in good is important. Because there are only two things in this life. There is good and evil. There is good or evil. And both of these, the good things lead you to Jannah, and the evil things lead you to hell. That's basically what it is. And on the day of judgment, when the scales are going to be set up, the good deeds and the bad deeds are going to be weighed out. Which one is more? That is going to take its inhabitants to its place. So if a person's bad deed is more, and may Allah protect us from this, then that person is going to go to hell. Right? Now, in our religion of Islam, there is a vast amount of area of worship in it, which are all means of nurturing the soul and providing for the soul. The body needs provision too. The body needs food. So you have to get, I mean, you eat variety of different things, fruits and vegetables and meat and these things. The needs for the soul is different. The needs for the soul is much different. The soul needs sincerity. The soul needs loving Allah. The soul needs fear for Allah. The soul needs hoping in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The soul needs these are the necessary needs of the soul. The soul needs, in order for it to be complete, to put your full trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The soul needs salat, the soul needs zakat, the soul needs Ramadan, to fast, and the soul needs dua, the soul needs zikr of Allah. These are the provisions and the aspects of the soul that is there. These are called acts of worship. All of them are called acts of worship. Loving Allah is an act of worship. Right? So, to satisfy this spiritual yearning and to fulfill our initiative, our inclination, not initiative, our inclination, this instinctive need for worship Allah, because each one of us wants to worship Allah. Each one of us is naturally inclined to devote ourselves to our God. Regardless if they say they don't believe in God, the first thing they turn to when they are in trouble, they are in an airplane and the airplane is, going haywire because of the clouds or whatever the case might be, or they're in a boat and all of a sudden big storm comes up, everybody turns, oh God, take us out of this. So regardless of what it is, there's this instinctive need for worship and devotion and loving of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in His wisdom, this Almighty Allah, He has chosen for us tangible symbols, so that we can use these symbols to strive for His blessings, to strive for His barakah, to strive to increase in our good. These sacred symbols can be either time or place. Right? They can be sacred moments. They can be sacred places. Okay? But they are there to aid us in our worship so that we get out of them more and more blessings. Now I want you to pay attention to this. Out of all the months in the year, all the time frames that you could think of, or all the space frames that you could think of, the time or the place, Ramadan is undoubtedly the richest, the largest, and the most loaded of these symbols with barakats, with opportunities to increase in your good. So my dear brothers and sisters, please don't get too busy, so that you do not get enough time to prepare for your Ramadan. Remember, I told you that it's an important event, right? I told you that before. But now I'm trying to explain to you why it's so important. Your soul is your most important need. And inshallah, we're going to discuss that, inshallah. Right? So, I mean, when you are trying to prepare, there are many areas that you have to look at. Okay? So, what you have to really make sure is that you look at all the areas. And now we are very, very late. We are 5 weeks away only, inshallah. We are so very close to Ramadan, inshallah. And we do not know if we're going to reach it yet. But with all of that, we have to prepare. Right? Because although, brothers and sisters, Ramadan is the month of blessings, and it is full of blessings, you must realize, as I said the last time, that Satan is going to strive to cause you to lose out on as much blessings as you can. So we have to be very careful. Why? Because he's very, very jealous. He is very jealous, and we are his enemies. He has no other enemies other than the believers. Because everybody else, the Jews and the Christians and the disbelievers, the idol worshippers, if they don't accept Islam, they're all going to, according to Islam, they're going to hell. Unless they become Muslims, inshallah, that's the option. They're going to hell. So they are from his army. And even among the Muslims, those weak ones who don't really pay attention to their Islam too much, they can be very much aids of shaitan. So he might use all of these people to get at us so that we get distracted. So even if Satan, and we have to learn about him a little bit, and this is one of the other subjects that we're going to deal with a little bit. The next slide we are going to talk about Satan, this enemy. Who is he really? What is he about? How dangerous is he as an enemy, right? So, because I feel if you know this, then you would begin to appreciate the value of Ramadan. Because when you know how serious he is, and then you realize that he's tied up for a month, then mashallah, you realize, mashallah, Allah has really given us an opportunity of a lifetime. Right? And then you can really be able to thank Allah more and be grateful because of all of this. So, because Satan is not going to even, whatever little blessing he could get you away from, that's what he wants. Even a little one, he doesn't care. Right? Even if he can't get you to be in his army and take you to kufr and take you to shirk, what he's going to do is try to reduce your position in Jannah. So if you're too busy, and so not getting much done in terms of real responsibilities for your life, and you're not getting spare time to ponder over Allah's message, then this is an indication that something is wrong with your time. And you have to be careful, because there might be no barakah, there might be no avenue for increase in good in your time. And remember that the one who is keeping you busy, brothers and sisters, is only Satan. Only Satan. Only Satan is doing this. He's the one who is doing this. So we are going to really try to really make sure that you really understand a little bit more about him later, inshallah. But what we want you to understand is that we have time from now to Ramadan. As I'm saying, the time is very short to prepare. Now what Satan is going to get you to do is going to tell you here, you have to take care of this and this job. You have to make sure you clean the house before Ramadan comes. You have to make sure that this is done. You have to make sure that you set your you finish up all your work before you you get into Ramadan so you can take your leave for the last 10 days and whatever else it is. So you work overtime on all of these things, so that you can get time in place and you can put things in place. Now you are preparing for the month in a way, but you're not preparing to use the things that are of Ramadan. Like for example, you're not seeking the knowledge of what is going to make you better. So at the same time, while you're doing all this other preparation, inshallah, what you have to do is to spend some time to make sure you cover those areas that are essential for you to understand how to get the best out of Ramadan. For example, one of the most important aspects of Ramadan, which I wanted to deal with as the first blessing of Ramadan, right? But because of these subjects that have come up, I just decided I'm going to deal with that, inshallah, directly after that. One of the first blessings of Ramadan, inshallah, that we are going to deal with, and it is the most important blessing of Ramadan, is the Quran. And one of the aspects of the Quran that is necessary to benefit from in Ramadan is to be able to recite the Quran in Arabic. Now, if you don't know to read the Quran in Arabic, then you are missing out. English cannot compensate. You don't get 10 rewards for every time you read one letter from the English language. You get that only for the Arabic, right? And reciting the Quran is an act of worship, right? It has to be done with certain kind of adab. If you're reading it in English, that is not necessarily worship. It is not necessarily considered as worship. That's reading a translation of the meaning of the Quran. It's not even the meaning of the Quran. You can't translate the meaning of the Quran, right? So what you have to recognize is that Satan is going to try to distract you by doing these things. So what you have to do, if you don't know to read the Quran yet, start now. A brother just told me he took 21 days to learn it. MashaAllah. So you can do it. It is possible. So if you don't know to read Quran, start now. So that inshallah you can learn to read Quran and you can read it, so when Ramadan comes you would be with the Quran, which is one of the aspects, or one of the most important aspects of the Quran. So if you are finding that you're too busy and you're not getting time and to do what you have to do, then the solution is to seek refuge in Allah from Satan now and work diligently to change our approach to the way we attach ourselves to Allah. Right? Listen to that, the way we attach ourselves to Allah. Brothers and sisters, this is why we are here. Allah sent us here for what is called ibadah, for us to attach ourselves to Him. This is the bottom line. This is life. There's nothing else more important in life than this. Now if we don't attach ourselves properly to Allah, then we are going to be in trouble, because that is going to cause people to go to hell. Now this is definitely the toughest challenge, and it takes tremendous effort, but with Allah's help. And because Shaitan is going to be taken away for that month, he's going to be chained. Using Ramadan, if you can use Ramadan properly in the areas, the blessing that it contains, we can really learn to fight our enemy Satan. Okay? So inshallah, we have to really look at this. So our main aim is to attach ourselves to Allah. So, we have to understand this. So in addition to all of this, and to assist us with this difficult job, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we said before, had appointed special times and places which are called blessed, right? And this is an important concept in Islam which needs our attention. Okay? So the devoted servant does not know exactly how and when and in what form the promised increase in blessings or acceptance of good work is going to come about, right? So what he has to do is that he or she must keep striving in the way of Allah, trying to do as much as he can while hoping for the reward of Allah. This needs a lot of sincerity. So you would know if you're sincere with Allah if when you check yourself against His commands, regardless of how small it is, you don't take it lightly or treat it as insignificant. You treat it as valuable, and especially that Ramadan is coming, now that you know that you have to prepare and your Lord is so important to you, and because there's so much barakah in Ramadan, then inshallah what you're going to do, what you want to do is you want to use this month well, so you must know what to do. This is the best form of preparation, inshallah. So this is what we're going to help you with. So there are two aspects I said I want to deal with. I want to deal with the soul, which might take about 3 presentations. I want to deal with Satan a little bit. I hope it can be done in one presentation. And I want to deal with hell. For the soul, the reason we want to deal with the soul is because the soul is, you are purifying the soul through Ramadan. It is the best purifier of the soul. There's nothing that can nurture the soul and feed the soul and provide all the ingredients for a healthy soul more than Ramadan can provide. So that is one of the things you need to know, and you need to know how to do that, inshallah. That's the first thing. The second thing is that from Ramadan you're going to get an opportunity to really learn to combat Satan. You're really going to get an opportunity to learn to really take Satan as your enemy and deal with him as your enemy if you look for the little places, inshallah, which we hope we can point out. The third thing is that Ramadan is going to help you by physically fasting and doing the things in Ramadan. I mean, there is protection from hell. The Prophet ﷺ actually says that fasting one day in the way of Allah and every day you fast in Ramadan is the way of Allah, it distances your face from the hell by 70 years. 70 years. So if you are fasting for 30 days and your face is distanced from hell, 7 by 3 is 210 years of distancing from the fire of hell, right? Which is tremendous, alhamdulillah. And actually there are some other narrations that talks about protection from hell. But what we want to do is to tell you about a little about hell so you understand what hell is and how severe it is and how in comparison to this world the punishment is nothing. So we want to bring this reality into your heart from the Quran and the Sunnah so that at least you know the reality of this, so that inshallah you can benefit from the blessings, from the barakat of Islam, of Ramadan, inshallah. And you can, at least you can protect yourself from shaitan and you can protect yourself from hell, inshallah. And at the same time be in the process of purifying your soul. May Allah help us to understand these important small points, but important points. May He help us to really see the importance of them, and may He make us understand our responsibilities in relation to each, so that we can nurture our soul and provide for it properly, and we can be able to take this enemy as an enemy, Satan as our enemy, and we can protect ourselves from hell. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to benefit from Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to reach Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the best in this world and the hereafter, and save us from the punishment of hell. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik, shadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.